Amado's motivation is just way too simple for such a complex character. For a scientist capable of creating Ida, Daemon, Delta, Kashin Koji, modifying karma, and outsmarting Ishiki, Code, Kawaki, and even Konoha multiple times, it's just hard to believe his ultimate goal is merely bringing his daughter back to life. In fact, the further the Boruto story goes, the more it shows that Amado always has a backup plan, always knows something others don't, and almost never truly loses control. So far, the manga hasn't given a definitive answer, but one thing that's crystal clear to me is that Amado is still hiding the biggest secret in the entire story. And until Akebi's true identity is finally revealed, I don't think we can trust a single story that comes out of Amado's mouth. Yeah, that's at least our discussion from the previous video on why I think there's a super interesting theory/analysis about why Amado doesn't actually want to revive Akebi. And honestly, it feels like there's still a part that's relevant enough for us to dive deeper into, especially regarding the last case that directly involves Kawaki. Because the fact is, regardless of what Amado's ultimate plan for Akebi's clone is, Koji revealed that there isn't a single future where he sees Kawaki planting that karma into Akebi's clone. At least, so far, that's the reality. But on the flip side, what if we shift our focus to Kawaki? I mean, how does Kawaki eventually realize that he's just been used by Amado this whole time? Does Kawaki actually realize it, or is he just like a naive kid blindly obsessed with destroying the Otsutsuki and everyone else? I won't answer that question just yet, because if we look at the opening scene of chapter 36, Amado considers Kawaki way too trusting and overly cooperative. Yeah, at least that's what he told Kawaki regarding Koji's abduction mission. But of course, we also have to understand that up until now, we've always viewed the connection between Amado and Kawaki as a mutually beneficial relationship. Amado needs Kawaki because his karma is the key to bringing Akebi back. On the other hand, Kawaki needs Amado because only Amado truly understands his modified body and knows how to push his karma's power to its limit, especially with how Amado was able to restore the karma that had previously been erased from Kawaki's body. It looks like a standard working relationship, but what if from the very beginning, it was actually just a relationship between a creator and a tool? Though I'm pretty sure most of you would agree with me if I said that, right? Because if we look back at how Amado has always treated Kawaki, almost all of his actions have revolved around one single thing: making sure Kawaki stays alive and keeps evolving. A lot of people view that as a sign of care, since Kawaki is the vessel needed to revive Akebi, or maybe even like the title of chapter 36 suggests, parental love. But in my opinion, the reason could go way deeper than that. What if Kawaki's karma was actually never designed as a tool to revive Akebi in the first place? Yeah, I know the odds of this are super low, especially since the manga hasn't explicitly stated anything like that. But hear me out. What if its main function is actually to serve as an energy source to finish something inside Akebi's body that has remained incomplete all this time? If we look back at Amado's explanation in this chapter, Akebi's genetic data memory is inside Kawaki's karma. And on top of that, I don't think I'm the only one who believes Akebi is somehow part of Shibai or something along those lines. In other words, it would make complete sense if that resurrection requires an unfathomable amount of energy. A massive amount of power like that probably can't be obtained through normal chakra alone. Even chakra from the tailed beasts might not be enough. But Otsutsuki karma is a completely different story. Karma stores biological data alongside Otsutsuki power in a near-perfect state. This could very well be the power source Amado has been searching for over decades. So the crazy and controversial possibility is that Kawaki's karma was never meant solely to revive Akebi. Instead, Kawaki himself may have been nothing more than a resource that Amado has been preparing all this time. And in my opinion, this is where Kawaki's greatest tragedy truly begins. When will all of those lies finally come to light? I mean, setting aside whether Kawaki knows the risks of implanting his karma into Akebi, does he actually understand all the consequences that come afterward? I think the answer lies in the moment Kawaki fully unlocks the power of his karma. The greater the power of karma that's used, the stronger the resonance it produces. We've already seen multiple times that karma is capable of creating connections between vessels as well as between Otsutsuki entities themselves. Because of that, it's not impossible that Amado programmed Kawaki's DNA and Akebi's DNA to become linked through the karma mechanism. And even though Akebi isn't truly alive at this point, just imagine this scenario. Down the line, when Kawaki goes all out against Boruto and pushes his karma power to its absolute limit, that resonance finally triggers. It doesn't just boost Kawaki's strength, it opens a doorway to another realm. Not a physical world, but a spiritual dimension where Akebi's consciousness has been residing all along. That's where Kawaki finally sees the truth Amado has been hiding. He sees Akebi's body, he sees all of Amado's experiments, and most importantly, he realizes he was never seen as a son, a student, or a savior. He was just a power source, just the final component for a clone Amado spent years building. I think this moment would easily be one of the biggest plot twists if it actually plays out in the manga. And I gotta admit, this might sound like total nonsense or like I'm taking the scenario way too far. But does it still make sense to you guys? Oh, and one more thing. Regardless of how things end up, I don't think Kawaki will immediately side with Boruto. That's actually where the conflict gets way more complicated. If we understand Kawaki's character development so far, we know he always takes the most extreme path to reach his goals. To him, as long as the end result aligns with his personal views, the means don't matter. That's why I feel Kawaki will most likely rebel against Amado, but he won't reject Amado's ideology. In other words, I think Kawaki will actually hijack the entire plan. He might say Amado isn't fit to decide the fate of the world, but if chakra and the Otsutsuki are truly the root of all human suffering, then Kawaki himself will be the one to end it. Not for Akebi, and not for Amado, but for his own version of peace. Boruto, on the other hand, will stand on the complete opposite side. Boruto has always been a character who believes the future is never set to just one path or outcome, and that's what he's been demonstrating all along. Even Kashin Koji explained multiple times that the future constantly branches out, meaning even if a catastrophe seems inevitable, there's always another choice that can be made. That's why I think Boruto and Kawaki's final clash won't just be a physical fight, it'll be a collision of two opposing philosophies. Kawaki believes the world can only be saved by destroying the root cause, whereas Boruto believes the Otsutsuki curse can be broken without erasing chakra and without sacrificing the entire Shinobi civilization. Especially when it comes to wiping out human history, Boruto definitely won't let that slide. So how does this theory wrap up? I think there are two big possibilities. The first one is that Amado's plan fails. This is where the Jugen might finally play the role we've all been waiting for. We still don't know the Jugen's true capabilities to this day. Yeah, I won't go on a rant theorizing about the Jugen again. But if that eye really has a connection to dimensions, the spiritual realm, or even a power higher than the Otsutsuki, it's very possible the Jugen becomes the only way to pierce into the dimension where Akebi is, her true spiritual realm or soul. By entering that dimension, Boruto finally meets Akebi face to face, and that's where a conversation happens that changes the entire story. Akebi realizes her father has changed. The father who once just wanted to save his daughter has now become obsessed with destroying the world to reach that goal. Akebi realizes that as long as she exists, Amado will never stop, so Akebi herself asks Boruto to destroy her physical body. Not because she wants to die, but because it's the only way Amado's obsession can finally be put to rest. Ironically, the person he wanted to save all along ends up being the one who puts an end to his whole master plan. The second possibility is much darker. Amado succeeds, or more accurately, Kawaki successfully carries out the plan. The Shinobi world collapses. The cycle of chakra ends. The divine tree, karma, and all Otsutsuki remnants are erased from the face of the earth. But the price paid is the complete collapse of a civilization built over thousands of years. This could be the very world we saw in Boruto's opening scene, where the village lies in ruins and everything has been reduced to rubble. And honestly, if I keep going, my theory is going to sound even crazier. So at this point, I really want to hear what you guys think. And yeah, I'm Nim without an E, and that's at least a deep dive analysis of how this story might end. Will the era of chakra really be wiped out? Or maybe not just chakra, but the entire Shinobi civilization erased to bring about a world truly free from chakra and the like? Yeah, once again, what do you guys think? If you enjoyed this, hit that like button to help me reach 100 likes or 1K hype points. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye. Dadabayo.